served as the state minister in 2004 also, and we have stacks of policies. In fact, I was in Korea recently, and there's a book of some indicators, and I was looking through those indicators, and there was one indicator which said that Pakistan is number one. And when I looked at it, it was the number of policies and strategies made but not implemented. So unfortunately, we've been on that list, that we make a lot of strategies but low implementation. And that's what we have to change, and what we are changing in Pakistan now. This has been our response to climate change. Previously, totally denial, something that would go away if you put our head in the sand, but that's not happening. So that's when the change started occurring. Now, we have in Pakistan, and we are lucky to have him as our Prime Minister, somebody who back in the 80s, when nobody was talking about the environment, he wrote a book called The Indus Journey, and he dedicated it to the vanishing forests and the dwindling wildlife of Pakistan. He could see it coming in Pakistan, even in the 80s. And so when he formed this political movement called the Tehreek-e-Insaf, which is in power now, one of his first tasks was, we want to create a green agenda for the party. And it was a very challenging thing. I was lucky to be tasked with that responsibility back in 2010, but we created an agenda. It was the first political agenda for going green in Pakistan. And then we got in one of the provinces, we got the government in 2013. And the best indicator for that commitment was that Mr. Imran Khan at that time called me up, and he said that, well, we have promised it to the electorate, we have to deliver it now. So get working on the green agenda. And we created some quantifiable indicators, and some projects came out of it. And one of the big success stories of that 5-year period was called the Billion Trees Tsunami Project. It was a project to plant 1 billion trees in a province which had seen deforestation occur for the last 50 years. So we set on it, and it was a big success. We went beyond the 1 billion tree mark, and it was not us saying that, it was the global agencies saying that, WWF, IUCN, World Economic Forum, the FAO, all of them came and they studied the model, they studied the success, and they found out that this was a success which was happening, which had gone beyond the 1 billion mark. I just want to put forward 4 points on why that success happened. The first one was obviously planning it properly and keeping it flexible. We had to choose between 2 options. One was to go and plant a new forest, and the other one was to keep on investing in nature, protecting it, and letting it, what is called assisted natural regeneration. So letting the forest grow back again. And we kept it flexible, and we found that, the nature part happened very quickly, very cheaply, and was the most effective. And we changed the model to do that. We had to have a zero tolerance against the mafia. There was a timber mafia which was prevalent in that province, very corrupt, and infiltrating all over the, even in bureaucracy, politicians, in the system, and there had to be a zero tolerance to that, which we showed. Transparency was the third one. It had to be, we were doing our own monitoring in the government, but for this particular project, we had an independent third-party monitoring done, which was done for the first time for any public sector project in Pakistan. WWF did that, and they gave us 3 thumbs-up reports. And the last one was that whatever we did, it had to be people-centric. People had to feel the change. People had to understand that there was a benefit coming to it from them. And we created about 500,000 jobs through this project. So there were women who were growing nurseries in their rural areas, youth who were growing nurseries, setting up small natural assets of forests, as laborers in the plantation, in the protection. It created a whole new economy, which was the important aspect. So I think these were the 3 things we learned in that 5-year period, that we had to engage the youth. Women, we found them to be, the most responsible custodians of nature. And the communities who live in these natural areas had to take ownership for whatever we were doing. And at the center of it, I think nature had to be relied upon. This was the nature-based solution, which you had a full section on that at the Secretary General Summit. But this was, we found out politically that nature-based solution is what works for nature-based challenges. And that is the learning which pushed us forward when we came to this government in 2018. Again, we had a choice. We were told that Pakistan, being an arid country, could become 75% desert if we don't do anything, if we just keep on going on business as usual. But we also had the other choice that at the moment we have 5% forest cover, but there is a potential, and the potential is that Pakistan could become 45% forest if we have the right policies. So that's when we upscaled the whole effort, and we started resetting our Pakistan's climate vision. Previously, whenever we had gone, I've been in the climate negotiation process for about 15 years, and we are one of the prime, victims of climate injustice. We haven't done anything, but we are the most vulnerable country. So we used to talk about that in all those meetings. But we finally found out that, we cannot rely on the world to solve our problem. It is a problem which has happened in Pakistan, not because of us, because of the world, but we have to take the lead in solving it ourselves. And that's when we started changing from this passive vision of being a climate victim to being proactively an enabler of the new economy that we talk about. And this new economy, which is going to solve the climate problem, inshallah, has got two main parts to it. One is the energy part, the other one is the forestry part. On the energy part, that is not something that our ministry totally handles, but our government has committed to a 30% target by 2030. What that means is that we want to go clean energy 60% of our mix by 2030. That would include 30% renewables and 30% hydro projects. And that's a vision which is very clear. We have unlocked that. Last month, 1,800 megawatts of wind power was, which was standard for the last 5 years, got passed. They are now projects which are going to come online. That's the clean part. The other part is the nature-based solutions. As I said, we realized in the KP province that nature-based solutions work. They are most effective, cheaper, easier to do, and when you help nature, nature helps you back. And that's the part that we focused on when we created a 5-point vision. This is the 5-point vision we have for our government for the next 5 years. It's very clear, 40% of it is nature-based solutions. We have the 10 billion trees. All the provinces of Pakistan are part of it. They have different models going from mangroves in the south to plantation forests in Punjab, and in the north to natural forests. We've got the Recharge Pakistan project, which is trying to use our flood waters. We get about 30 million acre feet of flood water going through Pakistan every year, and we flush it down into the Arabian Sea. So we are now designing a project to work on that, and we are being helped by the Chinese government on that particular project to use that water to restore the wetlands that we have, recharge the groundwater aquifer, and restore the whole ecosystem with that. And we also have the e-vehicle policy, which was passed last month by the cabinet. So we are targeting a transition to 30% electric by 2030. And this is something very exciting because it's got multiple benefits for Pakistan. It reduces the emission by 70%, reduces the running cost by 70%, reduces our import bill by more than $1 billion because our biggest import is oil, and also helps us in creating new jobs. We're also working on what we call Clean Green Index. This is an index to between 20 cities to make them go towards solid waste management and liquid waste management, and also waste to energy solutions. And the last one is the plastic bag ban. We have banned plastic shopper bags in Islamabad, which has been quite successful, and we want to expand it to the rest of the country so that we get rid of this menace, which is really something that is drowning the whole country. So this is a very clear vision that we have for Pakistan. As I said, 40% of it is nature-based solutions. It's got the energy side also, and then the energy ministry is helping on the renewable energy side. Now, the problem is, where do we get the money to do all of this? Now, the first thing that we've done in Pakistan is to put our money on the table. And last year, this government, this chart is the local chart, the local financing. So the local financing for green projects in Pakistan has gone up by 16 times. The budget for Pakistan is 16 times what it was last year. We have committed about $1 billion over the next 5 years for our green projects. Globally, that's the small chart on the top. We were not getting too much money from the GCF, but last year has been very good because they saw a very clear, focused strategy, and we have enhanced that by 5 times. So now we've got about $200 million worth of projects from the GCF, which include very exciting projects. There's a project in which we are going to be setting up 40 monitoring stations in our glaciers to monitor them. There's a project, the first one of its kind, in which we are going to use the cattle waste of Karachi city to run methane buses, 200 buses. It would be the first zero-emission metro of the world. There's also a project on climate-smart agriculture for 8 districts that we signed day before yesterday with the FAO. So, the global, we've got a response from the world, but it is not good enough. I think if you see our commitment on the ground that we've spent, the focused agenda that we have, and the success story that we have on the ground for nature-based solutions, I think the upper bar needs to go up, and that's where we think, Your Excellency will be able to assist us. But finally, we've also done one more thing, and that we've set up a platform for partners to come on board this agenda. This basically is what we launched in Madrid. It's called the Ecosystem Restoration Fund. So we have created a fund which will allow, that's the agenda on the left side. Government of Pakistan is doing major part of that financing, but there are parts of that agenda that our partners would be interested in. We've had interest from a number of countries, Japan, Germany. I can see the ambassador sitting over here. So they want to be a part of this agenda. So we created a transparent fund called the Ecosystem Restoration Fund, which will allow flexibly a lot of partners to come on board this agenda. And I will finish with a small video which is going to just show you what this fund is. It's a 2-minute video, and then we'll look forward to hearing from His Excellency on the global challenge, which is the bigger challenge, because countries like Pakistan can do as much as they want, but at the end, I remember there was a question put to me in Madrid when we had a very stark presentation on glaciers, the melting and the effect on the South Asian region. And they said, there were 8 countries sitting over there, 8 ministers sitting there. And they said, even if you 8 ministers got together, you are still going to have that problem. And unfortunately, the answer was yes, because climate change does not go away with 8 countries getting together. The world has to get together, and I would like to commend your passionate commitment to this effort, and we are fully supportive, but we are doing, as you can see, much more than our part for solving the problem. Thank you, sir.
मुशीर माहौलियात मलिक अमीन असलम गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे मौसमियाती तब्दीली के हवाले से मुनक़िदा तकरीब से। उनका ये कहना था कि मौसमियाती तब्दीली का बाइस बनने वाले ममालिक में पाकिस्तान का हिस्सा नहायत कम, लेकिन सबसे ज़्यादा मुतासिर होने वाले ममालिक में पाकिस्तान का नाम आता है। हमने मौसमियाती तब्दीली के मसले से निपटने के लिए कुछ अहम इक़दामात किए हैं, और इन इक़दामात का हवाला देते हुए सबसे पहले उनका ये कहना था कि बिलियन ट्री सुनामी एक कामयाब मनसूबा है जिसको बैनुल-अक़वामी इदारों ने भी सराहा है। हमने खासी ख़तीर रकम इस मसले से निपटने के लिए खर्च की है, और साथ ही साथ प्लास्टिक बैग्स पर, इन प्लास्टिक थैलों पर भी हमने पाबंदी आयद की। ताज़ा तरीन में फ़िलहाल इतना ही, और अब बढ़ेंगे खबरनामे की जानिब। हमारे साथ रहिएगा।